All right, what are we on to next? The Linda Lindas?
Yeah, yeah, the Linda Lindas. Do you want me to go for this?
Yeah, go for it.
So, Growing Up is the band's debut album. However, they have released a self-titled short play EP at the end of 2020, consisting of, I think, 4 songs. This was released on the 8th of March, earlier on this year, on the legendary Epitaph record label, which I think comes as no coincidence once you listen to that album. It contains 10 songs, approximately 25 minutes and 35 seconds long, so just under the half an hour mark. The band themselves are an all-girl punk rock quartet from Los Angeles, consisting of Bella Salazar on guitar, Eloise Wong on bass, and sisters Lucia and Mila de Garza on guitar and drums respectively, and they all take part in providing vocals. So I believe sisters Lucia and Mila de Garza, I'm pretty sure their dad is a pretty major record producer. I'm not 100% of his name, but I think he certainly worked with the likes of Paramore. I don't know who else he's worked for.
That makes sense.
I remember reading that. I think it's also worth noting that they're all extremely young. Bella is the oldest at 17, and at the time of recording, Mila is the youngest at only 11 years of age.
Which is amazing, absolutely amazing.
It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, it did put me in mind of the likes of Green Day, for example. I know their first album is a combination of the 2 EPs, which is 1,039 Smoothed Out Slap Airs, but I think it was like 1,039 and Smoothed Out Slap Airs, and just kind of meshed into one. I know they released that round about the age of 16, but these guys are, I mean, the drummer's 11. That's, and I mean, the music is on point. It's so good. It's so good.
You would never in a million years listen to the drums on this and be like,
that's an 11-year-old girl.
That drummer, she's only 11. It's crazy.
You wouldn't. I mean, the band. So I was first introduced to the band a wee while back because the band did become somewhat of a kind of viral social media sensation after they played one of the singles from their album "Racist Sexist Boy" in the Los Angeles Public Library as part of their Teentastic Tuesday event. The song is written about an experience that Mila had when a schoolmate made a racist comment about her round about the time or ahead of the COVID-19 pandemic. The album itself, hits the ground running straight out of the gates with "Oh," which is one of the first singles released from the album. Mm-hmm. It's a really kind of punchy garage rock stomper with lyrics that explore the idea of self-doubt with kind of fist-pumping gang vocals, which are bound to be a massive crowd pleaser. In my opinion, the album goes from strength to strength, with the second song in the album's namesake, which opens with a kind of strong, hooky and engaging loud, quiet, loud setup, which I found really effective. I think it's worth noting as well that I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but it does seem as if the band changed vocalists from one song to the next. That was my impression anyway. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it certainly feels different enough. I think there's a definite difference between all of the songs, which for my money could have helped keep the album quite fresh.
Yeah. I don't know about the change in the vocals. There's certainly changes in the style of the vocals.
Yeah.
You have a song like Growing Up, which is I've said that's pop punk perfection. But it's got these really sort of bubblegum pop vocals, and then a song like Fine or Why, I've got really aggressive, aggro punk vocals.
Do you want to know how I've described those types of vocals? I was thinking, I can't think of a word. So I was I need some, it almost has to be somehow kind of onomatopoeic. And the one that I could come up with is bleh, bleh vocals. Because it's not quite slackery. You know what I mean? It's not we've described bands like Dinosaur Pile Up or what have you, and we've described them having kind of slacker-esque vocals. I don't think these are the same. So the only way I could describe it was that kind of bleh, just total. There's a proper fucking attitude and swagger in the vocals.
Yeah,
just they don't seem to care at all. It's just that total nonplussed attitude.
It's there's a snarl almost to it, and aggro is the sort of is the way I would describe them, sort of in your face.
Yeah, I mean, I as I said, I think it comes as no coincidence that they're on Epitaph Records. I mean, that was I think most of the albums I was listening to when I was growing up and first started listening to music were on Epitaph. And certainly songs like Fine, Why being probably one of my favourite songs on the album, is, for my money, reminiscent of kind of early NoFX. It reminded me of one song in particular, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. I tried my hardest to find it, but couldn't find it. I thought it was maybe The Bag, which is on White Trash, Two Hebes and a Bean, but again, it does kind of remind me of the stuff that they released from one of their earliest albums, which was called S&M Airlines as well. Even down to the kind of timing and like the setup of some of their songs. So I was all over this album.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like familiar, I don't want to say punk tropes because that makes it sound like it's like derivative, but like homages, I suppose, just to that kind of simple punk rock songs. And like, I think there's a reverence for those kind of classic bands, I'd say. You can just hear it in the music. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on here. The first track, like, I've been driving about listening to this album because it's only like, yeah, just like taking a hand off the steering wheel going, the album's only like 25 minutes long, so you can just slap it on and blast through it like it's over in no time at all. And it's just a sort of whirlwind of like pop punk and punk rock. All the songs on here are really good. You've got Nino, which is... that's a more slackery kind of one, which is just about a cat that kills mice and rats. That reminded me a little bit of Shoulder Season, actually. We were talking about them earlier, just the vocal style there. I mentioned Fine and Why, which have both got those kind of aggro vocals. Remember, I've described that as an absolute bop. And I think that's one of the best songs in the album. One of the best choruses.
Do you know what it kind of reminded me of in a weird way? I've described it here as like an uplifting pop punk, almost pop punk version of Daft Punk's Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger.
Okay.
Just in terms of the lyrics, it's not, it's just the lyrics. Yeah, I can't quite remember the lyrics off the top of my head, but there is an interesting juxtaposition. We've talked about these kind of aggro or kind of blur kind of vocals with loads of attitudes, but there's a lot of kind of uplifting bits in here as well. You know what I mean? Is it Remember? I can't remember what song it is, but one of the lyrics is, I almost like, every day is... I can't quite remember. It's like, but everything's like... Oh, I've lost my train of thought now, to be honest.
The line I've written down from that song is from the chorus. It's, I can't remember the first thing I did today. I can't remember why I tried to run away. And that's like the really catchy lines from the chorus. I wonder if you're talking about Magic, because Magic's got a sort of weird, like, it's a little bit different. It's sort of catchy. Well, they're all catchy. It's not different. I don't know. There's something different about Magic. I can't quite quantify it. It reminded me of there's a band called Culture Abuse who I think were cancelled, but they did have a really good album called Daydream, which came out in 2018, and they sort of I think were like influenced by the Ramones, but brought it like bang up to date. And Magic reminds me a lot of that, but I don't know if it reminds me of Harder, Faster, Stronger with Daft Punk.
No, no, it's just the lyrics. It's just the lyrics. It's like tomorrow will be better. It's not better, faster.
I think that is Remember, actually. Yeah. Magic's about like I haven't written it down, but the chorus is like, what if magic was real? And it's almost like saying if magic was real, it would be like a curse kind of thing.
Yeah.
Magic's not, wait, that's one of the other top 3 or 4 tracks on this would be Growing Up, Magic, and Remember, probably for me. Although it feels kind of redundant even bothering to say that, because there's only really one track on here that hits me a little less than the others, and that's Quantus Victus, which it's not that it's a bad song, it's a good song, but it just breaks the vibe of the rest of the album for me. It's like a bit, it's sort of more alt rock and sort of Latino, I guess, because the lyrics are in Spanish, but it feels almost like it doesn't fit.
I would have to agree with you there. Yeah, if there's one track that I probably don't really pay all that much attention to or have skipped, it probably will be that one.
Yeah. But, it's still a decent song, and it kind of shows that there is a bit of a versatility to the band. And you mentioned Racist Sexist Boy before. That's the closing track. Heaviest song on the album. Big distorted riffs, crashing drums, got those snarling vocals, really catchy but aggro chorus. And it's really powerful, damning song, by this young female band. It's really impressive. You mentioned that was the live version of that was the one that kind of introduced you to the band, but for me it was the song Rebel Girl.
Right, I don't think I've heard that.
Which I think came out after that, and I was expecting to be on this album, because after I'd heard that I kind of thought, I'd been waiting for the album to come out for quite a while, but even without Rebel Girl, this is a really awesome album. The Rebel Girl is just a song about like wanting to be best friends with like the rebel girl, the kind of cool alternative girl in town. It's a simple punk song, but it's got this really awesome, like almost Motorhead sounding riffs in it, and with this, that really sort of poppy vocals, a little bit like Ramones. And I heard that song and I was like on board with this band straight away. So that was the one that introduced me to the Window Windows. If you're gonna criticize it, there's not really much on here that you wouldn't have heard before. If this kind of music's your kind of thing, pop punk, punk rock. But that's part of the reason it's good, really.
Yeah.
Because it has all those nods to these classic bands. And like I said before, there's kind of like a genuine sort of reverence for that music, and, musicianship's top notch, the performance, the vocals and the lyrics, and just the sort of general songwriting ability for such a young group is it's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an incredibly strong debut album.
Yeah.
My notes here have said, even more impressive given the band members' age. I don't mean that to sound patronising. I'm probably aware that it, maybe does. But yeah, I thought it was great, man. I thought it was fun, fresh, and engaging. And as I said, being a fan of all the kind of early Epitaph records, I was all over this. Really enjoyed it. What did you give it?
I've gone for a 9 out of 10 for this. There's not really much criticism I can level at it, to be honest. I mean, I love this kind of music, so...
I think that's fair to say. Yeah, I think a 9 out of 10. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. Before we move on, have you ever seen the show We Are Lady Parts? Have you heard of that at all?
Yeah. I watched, I think, like the first episode. It's on Channel 4, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's like a Channel 4 comedy, and I was just because some of the songs are a lot like similar kind of style, and it just reminded me of that, just like an all girl band, and like, yeah.
I think you can get their music. I think like you can. Like, I think the soundtrack's available.
Yeah. So there's basically they released an EP which is just the soundtracks from the show, and there's a really good song called Voldemort Under My Headscarf. That's a pretty awesome song, and it just came into my head because it's like, it's a band of young women playing in a punk band, and it's sort of they're navigating like racism and sexism and this standard kind of sneering prejudice that seems to be against women who sort of dare to play rock music or heavy music, so it's just I feel like the spirit of Lady Parts is alive and well in the Linda Lindas. The band Lady Parts, I should say. That was a kind of weird thing to say.
That's quite weird. I could
the spirit of the band.
You need to watch yourself, son.
No, that's a weird thing to say. But
take you away.
If that's not taken out of context, it makes complete sense.
Yeah, just don't isolate that voice.
So anyway, We Are Lady Parts is quite cool, quite a good show. It's not amazing, but some of the music is pretty good. And listen to Linda Lindas and then watch that. I think it makes a quite a good like pairing.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Anyway, right. So that was Growing Up by the Linda Lindas.
When I see something, I wish I had shut up. And when I try to help, well, dance like nobody's there. We'll dance without any cares. When you talk to yourself, do you think about the things that flood your head full of doubt? You tell a bit of time, it's not right. It's not. I just can't. finished. It's finished.